Coast grassroots leaders give former Prime Minister Raila Odinga green light to collaborate with President Ruto. Plus, live in studio a little later on.
We are bracing depressed rains, and I will be talking to Dr. David Gikungu, the Director, Kenya Meteorological Department. From wherever you're watching, this is Prime Edition coming to you live from Broadcasting House in Nairobi, Kenya.
Good evening. My name is Mboya.
Tom, welcome back.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back. I am Mboya and you are?
Muchuma, Odim.
And our live broadcast begins right now with a look at our top stories.
The chief, all these funds are operated outside the consolidated fund and therefore not part of what I approve.
Shocker.
The multi-billion shilling social health assurance digital system is controlled by private individuals who pocket 2.5% of Kenya's contributions.
Anti-graft detectives arrest 4 former senior Nyamira county government officials as ESCC says it has forwarded 51 files to the DPP for prosecution.
2 middle-aged men in court over the killing of British national Campbell's Court, whose body was found in a forest in Machakos.
The staff, I apologize to the people of Kenya, to the people of Nairobi, who have interdicted 2 officers.
Nairobi County Governor Sakaja tells Parliament he has interdicted 2 senior officers for illegally dumping garbage outside the Kenya Power offices. From wherever you're watching us, I want to warmly welcome you to this live broadcast once again.
Good evening. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Our sign language expert tonight is Brian Muraru.
Now, the Auditor General, Nancy Gathungu, has made damning revelations that the 104 billion shilling Social Health Authority system carrying Kenyans' health data is controlled by private individuals, and believe it or not the government.
The Controller of Budgets, Dr. Margaret Nyakango, has further confirmed that her office does not have control of the Social Health Insurance Fund.
That report is the one that opens our coverage tonight.
As Kenyans and leaders continue to decry lapses in the Social Health Insurance Fund, the Auditor General has released a report showing that the Healthcare Information Technology Digitization System that cost taxpayers a whopping 104.8 billion shillings is under control of private investors and not the government. According to the Auditor General's report on National Government Funds 2023-2024, the consortium in control would charge fees from member contributions to Social Health Authority, claims from health facilities, and charge for the track and trace solution at a rate of 2.5%, 5%, and 1.5% respectively for 10 years, resulting in projected revenues of 111 billion shillings. The Office of Auditor General says the 5% deduction from claims made by health facilities in effect increases the healthcare cost indicative of service charge of 5% to citizens every time they access healthcare services. The report further highlighted the lack of details on signatories to the escrow account that the funds are to be transferred to daily or weekly. The damning report further indicates the contract signed between the government and the private investors bars the government or any other person from employing alternative systems. While flagging several breaches to the law in the contract, the Auditor General said some 7 billion shillings set aside for training, support and customer education cost, but the number of healthcare workers to be trained on the system and the mode of training to arrive at the cost was not disclosed in the contract agreement. The contract signed also requires any rising dispute on SHA be resolved by arbitration under the rules of London Court of International Arbitration instead of the Public Procurement Administrative Review Board as per Section 28(1) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. The Controller of Budget also disclosed that her office could not access the Social Health Insurance Fund like the rest of government funds.
There is a lot of money that does not pass through the COB. And the housing fund, the SHIF, like you have seen, the railway development fund, the petroleum levy, all these funds are operated outside the consolidated fund and therefore not part of what I approve.
Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
Meanwhile, the Controller of Budget, Dr. Margaret Nyakango, has warned that the increasing expenditure on public debt risks crippling key government projects.
She noted that as of 31st December 2024, the public debt stock was 10.93 trillion shillings, with the debt ceiling surpassed to above 65.7% of gross domestic products.
Now, Dr. Nyakango advised the government to ensure project readiness before borrowing. Why? To avoid premature debt commitments.
Additionally, the Controller of Budget has expressed concern over the 1.3 trillion shillings exchequer withdrawals, which she claims were done outside the automated system designed for accountability.
Chemeza puts that story in perspective.
While appearing before the National Assembly's Liaisons Committee to give insights on Treasury's proposed medium-term debt strategy, the Controller of Budget, Dr. Margaret Nyakango, faulted trends in domestic borrowing, terming it a drawback on the country's debt management strategy.
In the last financial year, the one that we are now using as a baseline to plan forward, we found out that a lot of debt was domestic and the rates were a lot higher than even for external debt, especially where the shilling was strong, and so it was cheaper to borrow externally.
Clearly you are saying that that trajectory is not favorable to us, because if we do not adopt a sustainable debt management system, we will not be able to partake development initiatives.
If we continue taking domestic debt under those rates, definitely it is going to be harmful to the economy because it crowds out the businesses borrowing within the country.
The COB also raised concern on the high interest rates that surpass the principal amount borrowed.
For shorter and shorter durations, again we are saying the shorter the borrowing time, the more the pressure on the cash flows.
Is there a possibility for me to see a debt-free Kenya in my lifetime?
I cannot promise you that. And it's not even a good thing to be debt-free. But if you borrow and put what you borrow into productive sectors of the economy, it is self-balancing. Ultimately, you will find that you require less and less of the debt. So, even if you will not go down to zero, you will have what we call a sustainable debt, which will leave space for future generations to borrow. Right now, where we are, it's like we have borrowed for all the generations that are coming.
On debt management, the Controller of Budget proposed that Parliament advises Treasury to convert short-term loans to long-term, Treasury to link loans to projects to avert diversion of funds, broaden revenue base, transparency in loan contracts and public disclosure, among others. Reacting to a report that indicated irregular exchequer withdrawals of 1.3 trillion shillings, the Controller of Budget revealed that the requisition was done manually instead of an automated system which links the Central Bank of Kenya, Treasury and the Office of the Control of Budget. While she indicated that she oversees both withdrawals, Dr. Nyakango raised concern on the use of manual, yet there is a system for transparency.
Withdrawal of 1.3 trillion in 7 months, and they were withdrawing it manually. So, what is your take on that?
The Treasury has been operating certain aspects of the exchequer outside that automated system. So what we saw as the 1.3 trillion are the exchequers that they have been requisitioning outside the automated system. So I do both. I do both the manual and the automated. But my question was then, if we have the automated system, why are we still requisitioning manually?
The committee is currently making considerations on the budget policy statement. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
Onto the corridors of justice, a chief magistrate's court in Milimani, Nairobi, is tonight allowing police to hold 2 suspects allegedly involved in the murder of a British national whose body was discovered days after arriving in the country for a business conference.
The prosecution informed the court that the body of Campbell Scott, aged 58, was found in a thicket in Makongo Forest, Machakos County, on the 22nd of February 2025, just days after he was last seen alive.
Ruth Mboya with the details.
According to the Director of Public Prosecution, the 2 young men, Alex Mutuakithoka and Albanas Mutindanzioki, were arrested after an investigation linked them to the death of the British national Campbell Scott.
Uchunguzi wa kwanza unaonyeshana kwamba ule marehemu was taken to pipeline area, alipelekwa pipeline into a house belonging to the first respondents kwa nyumba ya
The court was informed that preliminary investigation indicates Scott was taken to Kithuka's house in Pipeline, Nairobi, where he is believed to have been murdered. The court was further told that there were several attempts to withdraw money from the deceased's accounts in Nairobi, Voi, and Mombasa.
And by this time, the it was established that the first respondents wakati huu wewe mshtakiwa wa kwanza had already moved out his belongings from the house in Kagwe. Alikuwa ameamisha vitu zako kutoka ile nyumba ilikuwa pipeline.
The court was told that the bag containing Scott's body was discovered hidden in a shrub in the remote area of Mokoyoni, Machakos County. Scott, aged 58, a senior director with data analytics company FICO, arrived in Kenya on February 16, 2025 for a 3-day workshop at the JW Marriott Hotel in Nairobi. Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina has allowed the detention of the 2 suspects for 3 weeks to allow the completion of the investigations. Ruth Mboya for Prime Edition.
On to that story that has been on the lips of many in this country. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has interdicted 2 senior county officers over that illegal garbage dumping incident, remember, near Steamer Plaza.
Speaking before the Committee on Administration and Internal Security at County Hall, Sakaja condemned the act, stating that it violates the county's policies and values. The Director of Criminal Investigations has also revealed 3 drivers who were involved in the dumping were arrested and released on police bond as investigations continue. Here is that report.
Assembly Administration and Security Committee invited Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja and the Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to explain specific actions taken on county officers involved in garbage dumping outside Kenya Power offices. The governor, while apologizing on behalf of the county for what he termed a barbaric act, also revealed 2 senior directors in charge of revenue collection had been interdicted.
And so on behalf of the staff, I apologize to the people of Kenya, to the people of Nairobi, to the residents and tenants and business people there. That should never have happened, and it will never happen under my watch. I will not allow that to happen again. So for interdicted officers, the documents are here within your package. I've interdicted 2 officers from the Revenue Department.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigation revealed 3 drivers involved in the dumping had been arrested and released on police bond, awaiting arraignment.
We were able to arrest the following persons. 1, Augustine Otieno Osore, who was a driver. Moses Gitari Kanywa, who was a driver. And Alice Okare Achami, the machine driver.
Governor Sakaja at the same time took issue with agencies of the national government refusing to pay land rates to counties. According to the governor, Kenya Power owes the county government of Nairobi 4.5 billion shillings, while the county owes Kenya Power 1.5 billion shillings.
Everybody must pay their fair share for us to have a clean city, for us to have a city of order, for us to have a city where we can provide services to our people. Everybody must pay their fair share. We have 256,063 parcels of land in this county, but only 50,000 people, 50,000 accounts are paying.
The dispute between the county government and Kenya Power will now be solved by Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi and the county governor Johnson Sakaja. Gishuku Washira, Prime Edition.
Let's now cross over to the coastal part of the country. Tom?
That's right. In a section of grassroots leaders affiliated to the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, in the coast region, has given former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga the green light to collaborate with President William Ruto on key national issues.
Led by Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungaro, the grassroots leaders who hosted Raila on Monday clarified that they fully support Raila's engagement with the president in the implementation of the National Dialogue Committee report and addressing other concerns affecting Kenyans.
Raila has been touring the country, holding consultative meetings with his supporters.
Consultation yetu tumekubaliana kwamba ile mambo tulikuwa tunaendelea nayo ya NADCO reports na maneno mengine yote kama chama wakati tulikuwa tukipigania kwa azimio kwamba tumempa ruhusa baba aendelee nayo. Sisi kama Kilifi County na naunga mkono wale wengine ambao tayari ashashauriana nao kwamba aendelee, kwa sababu Kenya hii ni yetu sote pamoja, na hatuwezi kusema hata tukikaa kando ikiharibika bado tutalaumiwa tu. Afadhali turekebishe tukiwa hapo ndani.
Mambo ya watu kutekwa nyara na kwenda kunyanyaswa, wengine kuuliwa, ni maneno ambayo watu wote wanapinga sana. Nasema yale mpaka ya kwisha. The issues of abductions and torture of the victims, sometimes killing those victims, is something that is completely unacceptable. That we've said it even in Busia, and we said it yesterday in Mombasa, and it has been repeated here in the resolutions that we have agreed on today.
Onto an item on graft that we highlighted for you earlier on in this live broadcast. 4 former senior Nyamira County officials are being held at the Kisii Central Police Station after they were arrested by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission officials over allegations of abuse of office in the Department of Gender, Youth, Culture and Social Services.
This as the anti-graft body forwarded to the Director of Public Prosecutions 51 files for action following the completion of its investigations that spanned between 1st October 2024 to 31st December 2024.
Tilio Marco is our man on that story.
The 4 suspects arrested on Monday morning by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission officers are Peter Omwanza Ugwara, former Nyamira County Executive Committee member, Beatrice Mokeira Siriba, who served as commissioner in the Nyamira County Public Service Board, Chadwick Maranga Sangara, who was the principal culture officer, and Geoffrey Ogeto Michira, who is the former assistant director administration. They are expected to be arraigned in court on Tuesday, 4th March 2025, to answer to charges of irregularly hiring 56 officers through a process that was tainted by allegations of influence peddling, corruption, nepotism and clanism. It is also alleged that some positions filled were neither sanctioned by the cabinet nor accounted for in the budget for the 2016-2017 financial year. In Nairobi County, EACC officials arrested Huruma Ward member of the County Assembly Peter Owera Oluoch on allegations of forgery and providing false information in the self-declaration forms. In the documents, Oluoch stated that he had a diploma from the Kenya Polytechnic, a claim which was found to be false. He also allegedly forged the signature and stamp impression of an advocate and commissioner of oaths. He is expected to be arraigned in court on Tuesday, 4th March 2025. Meanwhile, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has released its latest quarterly report on investigations for 1st October to 31st December 2024, detailing the investigations completed and files forwarded to the Director of Public Prosecutions. According to the report, the Commission completed investigations and sent the DPP 51 files, out of which EACC recommended 47 files for prosecutions, 2 for administrative action and 2 for closure. The DPP has concurred with the recommendation of the Commission in at least 13 of the files, but says 6 files require additional evidence. 32 files are still awaiting DPP's advice. Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
On to the weekly segment, the Cabinet.
Now, he was appointed the Health Cabinet Secretary 1 month, 30 days, after the advent of the global COVID-19 pandemic, and a few days before the first case of coronavirus was announced here in Kenya.
Thanks to his daily COVID-19 status updates, his name and face became synonymous with the health crisis the country was experiencing.
And so tonight on the Cabinet, we focus on, yes, you guessed it right, Mutahi Kagwe, who has served in the Cabinet under 3 presidents.
Bentro Njue with that report.
Mutahi Kagwe was born in 1958 in Nyeri County and acquired his early education at Kihati Primary School from 1965 to 1971. He later joined Kagumo High School from 1972 to 1977 for his O-levels and A-levels. Kagwe would later join the University of Nairobi from 1978 to 1981, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce degree insurance option. He took further studies at the United States International University from 1988 to 1992 and graduated with a master's degree in business management. Before Kagwe got into politics, he was into private business, running an independent publishing house as well as a public relations company. Between 1987 and 1989, he worked with the Standard Media Group's advertising department, where he rose to the position of commercial director. Kagwe's political journey began in the year 2002 when he became the 5th Member of Parliament for Mukurweini constituency in Nyeri County on a National Rainbow Coalition NAC party ticket. In the year 2005, President Mwai Kibaki appointed Kagwe to the cabinet as the Minister for Information, Communication and Technology. During the 2007 general election, Kagwe lost Mukurweini parliamentary seat to Kabando wa Kabando. In 2013, Kagwe successfully vied for the Nyeri senatorial seat on NAC ticket. In the 2017 polls, Kagwe unsuccessfully went for the Nyeri gubernatorial seat, losing his bid to Wahome Gakuru. In 2019, he was appointed to the board of the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority (IPRA). While heading the ICT docket, Kagwe spearheaded the construction of the Transitional East African Marine System, the first fiber optic project in East Africa, and also oversaw the launch of Kenya's flagship mobile money transfer platform M-Pesa. On 14th of January 2020, 1 month after the advent of the global COVID-19 pandemic, and a few days before the first case of coronavirus was announced in Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta named Mutahi Kagwe the Cabinet Secretary for Health in a cabinet reshuffle. As the Health CS, Mutahi Kagwe is remembered for providing daily updates about the spread of the disease, and his assurances that the government had put measures in place to curb any spread in Kenya. He is a recipient of the Elder of the Golden Heart Award. In December 2024, President William Ruto nominated Kagwe, the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock in the broad-based government, and was sworn into office in January 2025. For the Cabinet, I'm Ben Troy-Njue.
Inuka na loto moto. Sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location, few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba, tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na loto moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia star 570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na loto moto.
Two and a half years after key policies were planted, is Kenya reaping the benefits?
Soko watu wanalia, hawana pesa. Sasa unabidi tu unarudi na kitu yako yenye umepeleka huko kwa soko.
Can the country return to the soil and harness its agricultural potential for food security?
Sababu ukiangalia mazao hakuna. Hata hii kilimo hii matunda ni ya siku moja tu.
Join us on Tuesday at 9 p.m. as you speak to Agriculture PS Dr. Kiprono Rono on government's progress in filling the country's bread basket.
The Shift, Tuesday at 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Do you have other advertising agency in the building?
Please wait a sec, let me chat out.
Okay.
I miss the days when you were still here.
Yeah, you're right.
Guess he hasn't told you about losing his job, right?
He didn't. When did he lose his job?
I found ourselves a place tonight and asked our former customers who are on good terms with us to come out.
Now, when are we extracting the long grains? We have been
Two and a half years after key policies were planted, is Kenya reaping the benefits?
Soko watu wanalia, hawana pesa. Sasa unabidi tu unarudi na kitu yako yenye umepeleka huko kwa soko.
can the country return to the soil and harness its agricultural potential for food security?
Shamba ukiangalia mazao hakuna. Hata kilimo hii matunda ni ya siku moja tu.
Join us on Tuesday at 9 p.m. as you speak to Agriculture PS Dr. Kiprono Rono on government's progress in filling the country's bread basket.
The Shift, Tuesday at 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Our apologies for the technical hitch. Now, we've been wondering, why are we having high temperatures? When are we expecting the long rains? Well, tonight we are having a discussion on bracing the depressed rains. Or is it? To discuss this on set is none other than Dr. David Gikungu, the Director, Kenya Meteorological Department, to shed more light on the long rains that are supposed to kick off this March. Is that right, Dr.?
That is correct. Though I may correct one or two things. The rainfall will start on time in some places. The only difference this time round is that some places may have less rainfall than what we have on average for this particular season. When we talk about depressed, we are comparing what we are expecting with what we have on average. The western parts of the country, the parts of Nyanza, the parts of Kisumu, Kericho, Kisii, and going to the southwestern parts of the country, those are some of the zones that have a chance of getting the average to perhaps above average. Going towards the eastern parts, we expect average over the highlands east of the Rift Valley, including Nairobi. As you move towards the eastern parts, the northeastern parts, that's where the situation may be slightly different, in that the rainfall expected there will be less than normal. That does not exclude the possibility of a storm once in a while, but that is just what it's likely to be. A storm, short-lived, a lot of water, and then just disappears.
Dr. When we talk about below the rains that we normally experience, what are we looking at in terms of millimeters, and how will it affect our products in line with agriculture in the country?
You are right. Rainfall is measured in millimeters. In some places it's measured in inches, but under what we refer to as the World Meteorological Organization standards, the millimeter is the measure. And when we talk about average, there is an amount that we have measured for a period of about 30 years. Indeed, 30 years. It shouldn't be less. At least 30 years. That is what forms the norm. And if we have, in a particular season like this year, if we get less, whatever we get, we will compare it with that average. The forecast indicates that a number of places will get below that average, and that is why it's important for us to be ready so as to see how we can fill that gap.
Many people are watching right now, and they're asking in their minds, we talked about the long rains kicking off anytime from now. Which week are we looking at?
We are looking, Irene, at the second week of March going forward. For we expect that the rainfall season will last its course as normal from March up to May. over most parts. However, over the eastern parts where we are saying we expect less rainfall than normal, including the coast, the season may extend into the first or second weeks of June. That is the story in a nutshell.
Would we say that we are going to have the rains in these areas that are not going to experience the depressed rains?
Yeah.
Are we going to have them for the consecutive 3 months, or at some point we'll have dry weather patterns?
Yeah. It looks like we may have that kind of a situation where you have, and this is how it seems like it will be even over Western. We'll have a good start, but there may be a break. But we'll still be in the rainfall season. Whatever you can do with the amount that we shall receive, if we have means of storing that, it should be useful in the long run. Yeah.
And how long do you think this will continue?
The long rains. The long rains. Yeah. The long rains will last its course 3 months, March, April, May. The peak is expected to be in April over most parts of the country, including the parts where the rainfall onset will be in that particular month. It may start in April and still be the highest within that month.
Looking at the advancements the Meteorological Department has done, remember from the time of Ngwata Francis presenting the weather forecast, yeah, it has come all the way to today. Yeah. What are these things that we're putting in place to ensure that we give the public accurate weather forecast, even as we look at the long rains, and we are relying on you to give us the right forecasts?
The science of weather forecasting is very dynamic. It moves with technology. The technology that we are using today is very different from what we used in the years that you've mentioned. And there is also the concept of modeling. That's a simple way of describing the methods of forecasting, where you will have a set of equations that will run through a computer, and we have various zones indicating the most likely weather scenario to get. So we also compare the model outputs, and where we are now, the level of accuracy is quite high. And the story does not end there. We are always trying to refine the models. Sometimes the models will not speak to one another. Sometimes the model will give you an output that you reject because you are also reasoning using other concepts that you may have, because we compare very many things. So it is complex, but it keeps on advancing. So to answer you, we are advancing. We are quite high up there, probably recording about 80% accuracy most of the time. And the more distant it is from happening, the longer the forecast. Let me put it simply. If you ask me to give you a forecast for 6 months, the degree of accuracy will not be as high as the forecast I would give you for a week. For a week, or even a day, it will be almost 100%. That's the way it is.
So before we talk about the cause of the dry spell, so the temperatures that we are experiencing right now, Kenyans should expect them to go down across the country, because we have heard of high temperatures in various parts of the country. Mm-hmm. And just of knowledge to many who are maybe concerned, what will cause the dry weather patterns in between the months that we're expecting the rains?
one thing to note is that this season that we are looking to begin mid-March is always preceded by very high temperatures. Temperatures are caused by the presence or absence of the sun. Generally, the earth revolves around the sun. But to explain and to make it simple, it works out easier when we look at the sun as the one that moves across the equator, to the north and to the south. This time round, the sun is overhead or is moving towards its position over the equator. Wherever the sun is, it causes a lot of heating, very low pressure, and where there is low pressure, it will attract winds. When those winds are blowing over masses of water like the oceans, they will bring with them those clouds that will then form rainfall, which we will receive, unless there are other barriers or things that can blow such winds away.
There was a concern about the Maiden Julian cyclone. So many people, environmentalists, it's not a familiar term with many people. They were saying the dry spell will be caused by the cyclone. How true is that?
Thank you for that one. The cyclones are part of what I'm trying to describe. Because a cyclone is is a feature of very high moving winds, and it's a low pressure cell. Over the ocean we will have, or over the globe, we'll have parts that have high pressure, others that have low pressure. When the low pressure is very, very deep, very, very intense, it sweeps a lot of water towards it. If that water was in your direction and that cyclone just appears, then you will have a situation where you cannot get the moisture that you would have got. But it depends on the location, because there are some places where they will have a lot of rainfall because of the cyclone, depending on their location, and there are other places where they will have none. But it is a common feature around this time, because as I have said, where the sun is, it causes low pressure. And that happens over land and also over the oceans.
Good to have you, Dr. David Gikungu, the Director, Kenya Meteorological Department, giving us a brief on the expected long rains, and he has said that these will kick off from the second week. You're watching Prime Edition, and in other news tonight, Kenya has begun discussions with the international community on the Monetary Fund, IMF, on a new lending facility under the Extended Fund Facility and Extended Credit Facility programs. The talks come as Kenya's current program nears its expiration. This was revealed as Kenyan officials led by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and the IMF team led by International Monetary Fund's Deputy Division Chief Rebecca Sparkman.
Kenya has signaled its intent to unlock a new financial program with the International Monetary Fund once the current facility expires. Kenya has so far received $606.1 million, or 78 billion shillings, under the program that kicked off in April 2021 to support economic recovery from COVID-19 and reduce debt vulnerabilities. According to the National Treasury, the ongoing IMF mission will review the existing program while initiating discussions on future engagements.
This week, towards the end of the week, there will be another mission to take stock of the current program and to reflect on the future program. And therefore, as the Res Rep has observed, we think this will enable us to identify areas which may be weak.
It would also be good for us to hear from you where you would see this going, and perhaps if it will have implications on our conversations on a new program, so that everybody is aligned.
Mudavadi urged the IMF team to engage key stakeholders from the national and county governments, the judiciary, parliament, the private sector, civil society, and faith-based organizations to ensure a comprehensive assessment.
A second set of eyes that looks at how, as a country, we've been operating, whether it is the revenue, governance framework, expenditures.
The latest evaluation by the IMF will focus on macroeconomic stability, fiscal governance, regulatory oversight, the rule of law, market regulations, and anti-money laundering policies.
The recommendations will be such that they'll be prioritized. They won't be 250 recommendations because no government can handle that. They'll be prioritized by the state function and they'll be sequenced over the medium term.
There could be consequential pieces of legislation that will then require amendments as a result of this exercise.
Wairi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
Jet A1, cheza aviator bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Aviator bila data, aviator bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobets.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Wellness is important in our daily lives so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have. By regular checkup, people don't know they have hypertension, they don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of getting lifestyle diseases because I come from a family that has lifestyle diseases.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Thank you for keeping it Prime Edition. Let's continue with the developments in the world of business. Savings and credit cooperative SACCOs should consider earmarking some cash from the pool for offering members dividends for creating a safety net against potential financial losses. Commissioner for Cooperatives Development, David Obonyo, is also calling for prudent financial management within SACCOs to safeguard their sustainability.
Cooperative movement in Kenya has been awash with reports about the 10.3 billion shillings fraud at the Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, which has exposed 247 SACCOs in the country. So far, several suspects are facing legal action about the fraud case, even as SACCOs have already started making provisions for a potential loss of the cash. The Commissioner for Cooperatives Development is calling on SACCOs adequately prepare financial for such scenarios.
We don't want SACCOs to have creative accounting whereby they are bowing to the pressure from members to pay dividend that is not realistic. We want SACCOs to pay realistic dividend what they have been able to realize out of their business.
Obonyo says more stringent measures have been implemented to rein in on errant SACCO officials, as well as restore confidence in the cooperative movement.
If you are able to get 12%, there's no problem. Pay that 12%. But don't cheat. Don't go to the bank to borrow money to come and pay dividends, because by doing that, That's not a prudential way of managing our finances.
He was speaking during the annual delegates meeting by Harambee Sacco, which is incentivizing its return on investment to attract long-term investors.
I want to assure members that the monies which were in Cusco, they are not going to affect anybody else's return, and that must be very careful. And we need to also to look at what is it. Cusco has gone down, people have lost money, but that money, if you look at all those circles which were there, they are paid a return.
During the meeting, Harambee Sacco members approved a 15% interest on shares and a 10% interest on deposits.
The government is urging cooperatives to assess their investment portfolio and reduce exposure to high-risk ventures that could lead to financial instability. Reporting for Prime Edition from Nairobi, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
Farmers and aggregators should deliver their wheat to the National Cereals and Produce Board starting Tuesday morning. As Trevor Ngeno reports, the directive by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe seeks to resolve a crisis that has seen farmers complain that they have 321,000 bags of unsold wheat.
Wheat farmers have been grappling with market challenges, and their frustration recently spilled into the streets. In Narok, growers staged protests decrying the lack of buyers for their wheat. During a meeting with various stakeholders, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe directed wheat farmers and aggregators to immediately begin delivering their grain to the National Cereals and Produce Board, with payments to farmers set to be processed within 30 days of delivery.
Wheat held by aggregators, wheat held by farmers will be delivered to the National Cereals and Produce Board go-downs effective tomorrow morning. So we are presuming in that case then that in the next 2-3 days we would have cleared the entire lot.
Additionally, a memorandum of understanding has been signed that will see millers collecting wheat from the National Cereals and Produce Board and paying for the grain within 21 days.
An NCPB will ensure that the millers, as they collect the wheat, will also pay the farmer, will also pay the NCPB in good time to ensure that the farmer gets the money in the time that we have said.
Kagwe says the government is on the watch out for anyone who will attempt to deliver imported wheat to the National Cereals and Produce Board depots.
And we hope that as we go along, we will establish a system that is foolproof and that will be what we are going to use going forward.
Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio.
Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business.
Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile ndio naendesha hivi.
Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto.
A very good evening to you. Welcome back to KBC Prime Edition. My name is Karen Kibet. Let's now take a look at the day's sports. Now, former South African international Benny McCarthy has been appointed as the new head coach of Kenya's national football team, Harambee Stars, on a contract running until 2026 with a possibility of an extension based on his performance. The 47-year-old McCarthy boasts an illustrious coaching career, having served as a first-team coach at Manchester United from 2020 to 2024.
Following the resignation of Turkish tactician Engin Firat last year, the Football Kenya Federation has unveiled Benny McCarthy as the man to lead the national team in its quest to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, an achievement that will make Kenya only the second East African nation to reach the tournament.
Baada ya mazungumzo mengi na kujadiliana na wenzetu, tukaona ya kwamba McCarthy ana ule uzoefu na we believed very strongly as a team that he's the right person for this job. He's competent enough, has a proven track record. Ni mtu ambaye amejionyesha over the years ya kwamba amejitolea kufanya kazi katika zile klabu ambazo amewakilisha.
McCarthy's immediate assignment will be guiding Harambee Stars in their 2026 World Cup qualifying matches, starting with an away fixture against Gambia on the 17th of this month, followed by a home clash against Gabon 1 week later.
We want to win every point that's available to us. We will work hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's also not impossible, you know, to win, because the quality of the players that we have to have a positive mindset, because if we start thinking that we can't beat Ivory Coast or this problem, no.
FKF has also confirmed key additions to McCarthy's coaching staff, including former South African goalkeeper Joseph Monib, who will serve as the goalkeeper trainer, and Cape Town Spurs assistant coach Vasily Manusakis, who joins as McCarthy's assistant coach.
I think he's the one to get more players to go and play out there so that we can participate in World Cup and Africa Cup.
We have the players, and also, as I said, he also need to work so closely with the local coaches to make sure that he comes up with a very competitive squad.
Francis Kimanzi, who has been serving as interim coach since December 2024 and led Kenya in the Mapinduzi Cup, will be part of the transition team to help McCarthy settle into his new role. Harambee Stars currently sit fourth in Group F with 5 points from 4 matches. Group leaders Ivory Coast tops the standings with 10 points, followed by Gabon with 9, Burundi with 7, Gambia and Seychelles, who are yet to register a point. Benny McCarthy's appointment not only makes him the first South African to lead the Kenya national football team, but also the 36th individual to take on the role since the team's inception in 1961. For Primetime Edition Sports, my name is Isaac Lemoka.
Thank you, Lemoka, for that report. Moving on, the 2023 Kenya National Rally champion Jasmeet Iceman Chana is optimistic of registering an impressive performance at this year's WRC Safari Rally scheduled for March 20th to 23rd in Naivasha.
Chana, who had competed in previous rallies with an Evo, made an upgrade last year after acquiring a Ford Fiesta R5 and will be hoping to get the maximum from the new machine.
Hold the bull by its horns, and we're not going to think of it's the first time for us. We'll drive it the way it's supposed to be driven. At the same time, like I said, intelligent driving, not to make any mistakes. So let's see. It all comes down on the D-Day. So we shall see what's going to happen.
Chana is not delusional of the challenges that come with the Safari Rally.
Safari is not kind to anyone. You have to respect it for what it is. It's called the Safari Rally. On paper, it looks very easy, but while you're doing it, it's not. Yeah.
Jasmeet, navigated by his brother Ravi Chana, have already tested the car, meeting the WRC deadlines and declared themselves ready to take on the challenge in the WRC2 category that has a total of 16 entries, including 7 drivers who will be flying the Kenyan flag in the race.
Kenya has got a lot of fierce drivers. I mean, I think in Africa, I think we're the only country that has brought up amazing super drivers. Because we used to have a national championship, very strong national championship. So the drivers here are fearsome, the quick drivers. We will fight. I will not go back because it's Carl Tunde or Karan Patel thinking, oh, I can't catch them. We will try our best and, be in par with them. if not beat them, at least be close to them.
And with the rally expected to coincide with the start of the rainy season, Iceman is ready for the challenge that comes with the unpredictable Safari Rally weather patterns.
For it to rain. Rain, and rain. Yeah, because I've had experience in, driving in rain. It's fun. It's a bit slow, but it's fun. And a lot of knowledge is needed. Being sleeping warrior in Soisambu, when it's raining, it's not an easy task. You can be all over the road.
A total of 10 top level 1 rally cars have already enlisted for the Safari Rally, the first gravel race and the third round of the WRC Championship, Bernard Okumu Prime Edition.
Thank you, Bernard, for that report. Now, the battle for survival is proving a massive task for Bidco United and City Stars, who have remained in the relegation zone for the better part of the 2024-2025 FKF Premier League season. Bidco and City Stars are 17th and 18th on the table with 22 points each after playing 23 matches and are tied on points, also with 16th placed Talanta FC. On the other side of the table, it's Kenya's Police sitting top above Tusker FC, but on equal points, while Gor Mahia are third, 5 points behind. And that's for all the sports stories we had for you right here on KBC Channel 1. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place with more sports news. My name is Karen Kibet, but the bulletin is not yet over, as I do hand you back to my colleagues Tom Mboya and Muchuma Odim. Tom, are you signaling me?
Yeah, I was telling you, thank you, Marakwet, for that sporty update. Ben McCarthy, he was once one of those top names, top flight football in South Africa. So we'll wait and see.
We do pray that the 47-year-old will register impressive results with the team, and that he'll see the team to have a World Cup qualification. So we can't wait to see what he's all about and what he has in store for the national football team, Harambee Stars.
Absolutely, we'll be looking forward to all that. And by the way, another thing we're looking forward to is it's been hot. I was in Kisumu,
yes.
I was in Kisumu, a place called Kagwe. Very hot. And everybody has become a weather, predictor, because everybody seems to be saying it is so hot that it's only rain that can come immediately thereafter.
It's even hot in the studio.
Even in the studio, even in Maraca.
Yes.
In Maraca. Is it Maraca or Maracay?
Yes, so the heat wave is real.
Yeah, it's real, isn't
people
it?
Should drink people should drink a lot of water. Hydrate.
I agree. This is Kenyan summer.
The umbrella season is about to be here anytime. The weather experts have said in 2 weeks we'll be having the rains. Though depressed, not every other part of the country will experience, but at least the rains will be here.
So it's always good to think about how to harvest it, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Because when it comes, it rains cats and dogs.
Very important. But for a short while.
I'm happy to be back.
Welcome back once again. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms. Our sign language expert tonight is Brian Muraro. My name is Muchuma Odim.
Did you know Brian's first language is signing?
He told us.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So, you did very good research.
Yeah, I did very good research.
You did very good research.
We've got to go. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you all for watching on behalf of the Prime Edition team. My name is Tom Mboya. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya.
God bless you.
Inua jamii karibu nawe kwa haraka na urahisi. Kwa sasa, malipo ya Inua Jamii yanapatikana moja kwa moja kupitia simu ya mkononi. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako kwa niaba ya Wizara ya Leba na Huduma za Jamii.
Inuka na Loto Moto sasa kwa *570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location, few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development, rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba, tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na Loto Moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia *570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na Loto Moto!
Two and a half years after key policies were planted, is Kenya reaping the benefits?
Soko watu wanalia, hawana pesa. Sasa unabidi tu unarudi na kitu yako yenye umepeleka huko kwa soko.
Can the country return to the soil and harness its agricultural potential for food security?
Shamba ukiangalia mazao hakuna. Hata hii kilimo hii matunda ni ya siku moja tu.
Join us on Tuesday at 9 p.m. as you speak to agriculture peers Dr. Kiprono Rono on government's progress in filling the country's bread basket.
The Shift, Tuesday at 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Do you have other advertising agency in the building?
Please wait a sec, let me chat out.
Okay.
I miss the days when you were still here.
Yeah, you're right.
Guess he hasn't told you about losing his job, right?
He didn't. When did he lose his job?
I found ourselves a place tonight and asked our former customers who are on good terms with us to come out.